Hello, citizens of Gotham, government secretors, pew-pewers. What is up? My name is Graham. You are watching Gov6, episode 78. Going to roll off here in a second. Thank you for joining us on the CIA tube. We're 14 months of being demonetized. So let me put the government secret scroll up. Where is it? Hold on. There's going to scroll for, but you can support us at libirapay.com/government secrets. Hold on. Where is it? Here it is. Boom. And thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com and of course Twitch. Good to see everybody over at Twitch. We've got 58 followers on Twitch, which is pretty sweet. And of course, we love everybody that supports us at Rockfin. Melissa H just said this in Rockfin. Almost time for the daring demonetized duo. Sadly, that is true. All right, let's get right into it, folks. I couldn't go to yoga this morning because of some scheduling problems. So I got to go to yoga after government secrets, which is just I don't know how that's gonna play out. Could be problematic, but we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, host of the former Russian state media show Redacted Tonight, Lee Camp.
Hey man. Why am I so zoomed in? That's too
wow.
For me.
We're just getting all much. It's a lot of camp right there.
You saying I gained weight?
Oh shit! Here we go. All right, now yeah, I just fat shamed Lee. That's what.
We are the two most censored comedians in America, I believe. I mean, after all, Louis C.K. just won a Grammy, so.
I know. Wow, like that guy can win a Grammy. A sexual predator can win a Grammy, and we just call out the war machine and Epstein and JFK assassination being killed by the CIA, and we are like barely allowed to say anything.
Yep. Completely. For those who don't know, all of my past YouTube videos are now banned globally. So
they're banned globally.
Oh yeah, all the former Redacted Tonight, everything. Banned globally. If you go to youtube.com/redacted tonight, it just says banned in your country.
Well, you got the name of your next comedy special. I tell you that much.
Banned globally.
Just banned globally. Lee Camp banned globally. Yeah. Dude, does RT have, they must have archives of the show because you should just put it all up on your Rockfin page.
Yeah, I should put it on my Rockfin page. It is on Odyssey.com. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm on Odyssey as well. I always forget to tell people that. All my YouTube videos are just automatically get posted to Odyssey.
Right. If we hadn't just had like an account that was automatically taking everything from the YouTube account, then we would have lost it all.
Good Lord. Yeah, so that's Odyssey is like another backup since it automatically posts there. And then I post all the same stuff on Rockfin as well. I post some extra stuff on Rockfin, and I'm going to start doing more exclusive stuff on Patreon too.
Yes,
that's indeed.
Yep.
But have you and I spoken since the slap? No, we have not.
No, we haven't. No, that's right. That's right. I'm on Team Will Smith, right? No, just kidding. I'm on punch anyone who says a joke you don't like. That's the team I'm on.
It's like, you know, and anyone like when Tiffany Haddish was like, oh, I loved it. She was standing up, you know, Will Smith was standing up for his wife. I was like, wait a minute. And Kareem, have you read Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's article?
No.
It's the best.
He said the same thing?
No. Kareem actually has the most succinct evaluation of what happened. And one of the things he says, he goes, actually, if Will Smith having to defend his wife, she was in no physical danger. Like
Right.
it'd be one thing if Chris Rock was physically, harassing her, then it'd be like, yeah. But he goes, what Will Smith did actually was undermine Jada Pinkett Smith's own independence to defend herself from a joke. I mean, you got her, anyone watching this, please read Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's article about this, because he goes, it made us look bad as Black people, because now it gives the right wing, this is what happens. Too many Blacks come in, it turns all ghetto and they're fighting. Like he was like, you could even be critical of Rock's joke being insensitive to her alopecia. Maybe he didn't know, but he had no right to do that. I mean, it's the clearest, most the same. I mean, I like what Jim Carrey said. I like what Wanda Sykes said. But Kareem, man, he summated it. He's so smart. He's such a smart dude. And he's such a he's such an intellectual. And he works, because he's worked this like strong spiritual practice. He comes at it from that point of view. And he's even like, look, I've met Will Smith. I think he's a good guy, but he just, it's a really, I'm not even doing the article justice, because it's really,
well, I only have, I mean, most of what needs to be said about it has already been said. So I haven't been, it's not like I needed to make a video saying, hey, don't punch comedians, please. We'd prefer you don't. But the only angle that I haven't heard anybody, I mean, I'm sure somebody has, but I haven't heard anybody say, which I feel like could deserve a little discussion, is I get that these are two Black men. So we're not talking about the true like owners of our society in that sense, in them being white men or something, but this still came from a place of immense privilege. I mean, it's been a long time since Will Smith was poor or looked, down upon around with his people, with the people that are around him. It's been a long time since he's had someone in his face insult him or his wife, and probably. And so, to me, it has a lot to do with privilege. This is a very wealthy, very powerful man in that industry who snapped in that moment because I am, and I'm not saying all this was conscious. I understand a lot about psychology. This is mostly not conscious, mostly subconscious, but it's the idea of no one says these type of things to me because I run the show. And you look at movie sets and everything, and I'm sure he does run the show for the most part. But it's been a long time since he's had someone offend him to his face, and he's not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, and since you said you haven't seen anything, it really reveals to me you probably don't follow me on Twitter, Instagram, because what I said, Lee, was that...
Or maybe I just don't read Twitter.
What I put on two platforms where I follow you, here's what I said, Lee, is that...
No, never mind. I meant to say, to plagiarize Graham Elwood, let me give my thoughts.
To let Graham know in front of everybody, I don't really follow his bullshit on Twitter. It's a lot of yap and Epstein, and who really gives a shit? So but what I said was, to your point of privilege, I said a room full of millionaires watched a millionaire comedian get slapped.
I retweeted that. I retweeted that, but I'm not saying people haven't pointed out, and you did a great job. People haven't pointed out a room full of millionaires, and
giving themselves gold trophies.
Yeah. No, that part has been rightfully mocked, and I'm glad you did it. But my point was specifically like him coming from a place of privilege.
Sure.
Has not been made fun of to his face. But in terms of the outrage, it's like, do we really need to flip out over a bunch of millionaires getting upset about something?
Right. In a fancy theater across the street from a tent city. Like literally Hollywood has the worst homeless problem like in the country maybe. And I was told too that they came in a couple days prior and like swept a bunch of homeless people out from like in front of the theater and just pushed them outside of the red carpet camera.
I'm sure.
you know, and it's just another like great distraction of like, oh man, can you believe what Will Smith, this and that? And Ghislaine Maxwell was found guilty at the end of December, and nobody else has been charged. Like, no, it's like that case is just like quietly gone away.
I've had a lot going on, but I literally didn't know that was over. I didn't know she was found guilty. I don't think
she was found guilty. And again,
was
and
it?
I said this when the trial started. I said her verdict or whatever is going to come in that week between Christmas and New Year's, which it did.
Oh yeah, you're right. But was it the minor charge, like the lesser charges? Or?
She was found guilty on most of the charges, and what still hasn't happened is sentencing. That was delayed because she found out that one of the they were trying to claim her defense was trying to claim that one of the jurors didn't declare that he was a victim of child abuse. And so there's a form you're supposed to fill out or something like that. Like,
I remember that part. Yeah. And so they're talking about throwing it out, right?
Right. They're talking about throwing it out. Well, what just happened, I believe today or yesterday or just maybe Friday, is they threw it out. They said, there's not going to be a retrial. You're guilty. And now we're going to go to sentencing. And so her sentencing, my guess, is going to be a slap on the wrist, and they'll announce it like on opening day of baseball or something like that. Is when like that's when they'll announce it, or it'll just be on the ticker across some like Ukraine something,
right.
is when they'll do that. So
they'll announce it on the day that they have America's Got Talent Ukraine edition or something. Yeah.
Yeah, just like Zelensky's going to throw out the first pitch of opening day, and they'll just like, Ghislaine Maxwell sentenced to 14 months in a work release program. And now to throw out the first pitch of opening day baseball. Like the announcer will, like, between the national anthem and the first pitch, they'll announce that and give people a discount coupon on hot dogs in the same breath. And then everyone else just forget it. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Government Secrets episode 78. Will Smith breakdown on Government Secrets.
A week and a half late. Not so hot takes. Lukewarm takes. They've been chilling on the stove for a while.
Lukewarm takes. Room temperature takes with Lee Cap and Graham Elwood. People have moved on to something else. All right. Well, should we do my GovSeek first?
Yeah. Let's do it, and then we'll get to part 3 of World War I.
Oh, buddy. Well, I did my favorite game earlier today, which is CIA Operation Roulette, and I just to see what I would find, and I found Project Iceworm.
Oh,
and what Project Iceworm uncovered, and I'll get into it in a sec, is almost a B-52 like crashed with nukes on it in Denmark. So it's great stuff.
It sounds like a bad tequila drink you tried to make in college.
Yes. Like you guys, you were trying to study for your like Chem Phys final or something, and you just got drunk and like, this is what you did. And it's like
you called it Project Iceworm. Yeah.
You called it Project Iceworm. And that's the moment you realized you were changing. You couldn't handle getting a science degree, and you changed it to like, English lit or some easy one like that. Or in my case, film. So
right.
So Project Iceworm was a top secret United States Army program of the Cold War, which aimed to build a network of, listen to this, Lee, not making this up, network of mobile nuclear missile launch sites under the Greenland ice sheet.
Oh, nothing could go wrong there. Nothing at all.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
What?
Except that ice sheets have literally destroy everything in their path as they move forward.
Well, there's a key word you just said that I think they overlooked, which is they move. Ice sheets move. I think they missed that. This is the brain trust over at the Central Intelligence Agency.
Yeah.
the ultimate objective of this fantastic plan that literally, this is why they would never hire comedians to be in the CIA, or because they would come in with these plans and we would just start laughing going, ice sheets move all the time. And they go, oh, I guess we got to scrap that. When what they want to do is just get a bunch of sycophants to go, yeah, this is fantastic to protect democracy. And they'll get to spend the money.
We'd be doubled over in laughter and yeah.
We would be doubled. I've been trying to work on a bit in my act about, I watch documentaries about cults and I'm like, I always get halfway through and go, how stupid are these people? Like, comedians would never, have you ever heard of a comedian getting whooped up in a cult? Like,
oh my God, there are some good ones. There's some good cults out there.
There's some,
like, some of the shit that it's, that people, wow. Yeah.
Comedians, like real, true, honest comedians would never fall for a cult, right? Never in a million years.
We'd make too much fun of the guy.
Yeah. Like, we all got to get Andy Warhol haircuts. Oh, come on. Like,
did you watch, since you're a surfer, did you watch 100-Foot Wave about that maniac? Did you remember the part at the beginning where if when he was a little kid, his mom was in some cult where they walked across California and he was like 4 and they're like walking barefoot across the state, living out of dumpsters because some maniac told them he's Jesus or something.
Yeah. So of course that winged bird is going to go ride 100-foot wave. Like, of course, like we would never fall. There's comedians would never fall for that. We're always the ones in the back of the room going, this guy's an idiot. There's no way. There's no way. Which is why we would never be
on top of that, we're not good with authority. Yeah.
No, at all. We just really, that's never been our thing, is being good with authority. So literally, this is why no one at the CIA would ever run Project Iceworm by us. The ultimate objective of placing medium-range ballistic missiles under the ice. How can you say that with a straight face, CIA? Like, okay.
So did they like, so when they fired them, was the idea that they would, submarine out from under, or that they would break through the ice and come out? Like,
I don't. That's a great question, Lee Camp. Like, I don't know. I don't think they thought what that went through. They just wanted to put them under the ice, and they hadn't quite like. And one of these guys was probably like opening his ice tray, making a highball, before he repressed his sexuality, and then thought, "Let's make Project Iceworm." Is what happened.
Yeah.
That's my guess on that. So we literally can't. We're 2 sentences in, and we can't stop mocking how stupid this plan is. So of course they wanted these targets to be close enough to strike the Soviet Union. And this is it was kept secret from the government of Denmark. Because what Denmark
what is it? They own or owned?
They own part of
Greenland.
They own part of Greenland, and the issue is
because Trump made an offer to buy Greenland from Denmark.
Yeah, he wants to buy.
And they said, you, sir, are a fucking moron.
Right.
And he honestly thought they were going to take it. The deal.
Right. Hey, anything's negotiable. I'm the negotiator, so yeah, Trump just sounded like a guy coked up at a party trying to rope you into a business deal. That's what he was always just like, I'm going to build a wall. we're going to buy Greenland. It's going to be fucking
Most
awesome.
of his life is built on throwing out ideas like that. Then everyone says they're dumb. Then he does them anyway. Then they're huge, massive disasters. And then he sues the bank that gave him the loan to do it so that he never owes any money. That's his entire business model.
Which is fantastic. And that's America. That's the American business model. Big ideas that are stupid, get a line of credit, and then never pay it. Well, so why this was significant was why we lied is in 1957, Denmark passed a nuclear free zone policy, which included Greenland. Right. So that's why we just went, well, we've got this really dumb idea and it's a violation of Denmark's law, of international law. So we need to lie about this dumb idea.
The only thing better than a super dumb idea is a very illegal, super dumb idea. Yeah.
And I feel like the best super dumb ideas are always illegal for a reason.
True. But most of them are. I've had a couple that were not illegal, but they were against the law of man, is what they were.
They were against the law of intelligent, sentient beings.
They broke some laws of physics.
Well, this one probably did too, because they didn't know how the goddamn missile was going to get through the ice sheet. They just wanted it under there. So I don't know. I guess maybe back then the nukes were perishable, and so they just needed a big cooler to keep them in or something.
Keep them chilled out. Yep.
So to study the feasibility of this is the other thing I love about a good CIA operation. It starts as a stupid, dumb idea, but then they still need to study to see how dumb it really is. Like, I've got a horrible idea, Lee, but I'm going to spend more taxpayer money just to make sure.
Like the one we covered at our live show, the gay bomb. They spent millions of dollars studying a bomb to turn the enemy gay, and they found that it didn't quite work the way they had hoped. Right.
And so they were like, what if this turns us gay? So they got rid of it. So to study the feasibility of working under the ice, a highly publicized cover project known as Camp Century was launched in 1960. So there's the dumb Operation Iceworm is stupid, but then we need to hide to figure out how dumb it is. We're going to put a fake thing.
You need an ice sheet of bullshit frozen atop the dumb idea is how you have to do it. So that people don't see through the ice sheet of bullshit.
Right. It's literally, it's like a snow cone of stupidity, Lee. And you put the
rainbow flavor where you have the 3 different colors.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the shaved ice of dumb. So this is what that was launched. So this next line, Lee, is gonna blow. You're never gonna see this coming. But after this fake study that was to scam the illegal dumb idea, unstable ice conditions within the ice sheet caused the project to be canceled in 1966.
What? And by unstable ice conditions, we mean ice conditions.
Ice. You just mean ice.
You just mean ice.
Ice.
By unstable ice, we just mean the way ice behaves when it's on a fucking ocean.
Similarly to when it's in your cocktail glass. Like it's never the same. Ice is always changing. Ice is by its very nature unstable. Like, it's mind-numbing how dumb these fucking idiots are.
They probably canceled it when one of them was drinking like a drink with like a olive or something underneath an ice cube, and he was like, you notice that after a few minutes the olive gets around the ice cube and it comes to the surface. It seems kind of unstable is what I'm saying.
But it took 6 years of these guys drinking martinis and highballs to figure this out using the cover Camp Century.
Right.
But just to further the let me go into this. So to further the sort of cover up within Denmark, so they were lying about this study for 6 years, right? So they had the illegal idea in 1960. They had 6 years of a fake story to see if they could get away with the illegal idea. 2 years after the illegal idea, this is relevant because it's the overall secret and cover up of nukes under ice and what we were lying to Denmark about, which is why, hey, Western Europe right now, NATO alliance, like we're the worst. I know you're afraid of Russia, but you just do business with them and this war will end. Like we're the problem. So on January 21st, 1968, 2 years after Operation Snow Cone Stupid Idea Cover-Up was done, an aircraft accident, sometimes known as the Thule affair, the Thule accident, which is Thule is the air base in Denmark. A B-52 bomber occurred near the Thule air base in the Danish territory of Greenland. So in the place we were illegally trying to put rockets under ice with no clue how we were going to get them through and above the ice. And what again makes another one of our stupid ideas so fantastic is, gee, Lee, was this I'm going to give you his multiple choice. Was this B-52 carrying A, ice cream cones, B, Air Force equipment, C, B-28 FI thermonuclear bombs, or D, stuffed animals?
A shipment of koosh balls.
It's just, it's just like ping pong paddles. Which one of those, Lee, do you think was on the B-52 that crashed in the Denmark region of Greenland?
I gotta go thermonuclear whatevers.
How did you know this? God, you figure these out. It's like you read my mind. It was on a Cold War Chrome Dome alert mission over Baffin Bay when a cabin fire forced the crew to abandon the aircraft before they could carry out an emergency landing. So the Air Force crew, it caught fire, which I'm glad you have flammable stuff within an aircraft that has jet fuel, one of the most flammable things on the face of the earth, and it's carrying a thermonuclear bomb. So
it's a fair plan. It's a fair plan.
It really lines up as like smart after smart after smart. 6 crew members ejected safely, but the one who did not have an ejection seat was killed while trying to bail out. So these 6 guys went, later, bro. You should have you picked the bed. You shouldn't have called shotgun. Like this guy. Like, how did he get that? Did they just Rochambeau and he came up with the death seat? Like, the bomber crashed on the sea ice of North Star Bay, Greenland, causing the conventional explosives aboard to detonate and the nuclear payload to rupture and disperse.
Whoa.
Resulting in radioactive contamination of the area.
Nice.
The United States and Denmark launched an intensive cleanup and recovery operation, but the secondary stage of one of the nuclear weapons could not be accounted for.
But there is a well-armed fucking dolphin out there somewhere.
There's a guy with like a whaling boat that is just ready to light it up. Like he is gonna go get his whale. The U.S. Air Force Strategic Air Command Chrome Dome operations were discontinued immediately after the accident. Oh, thanks, fellas. Which highlighted safety and political risks of the missions. So cut to 1995. A political scandal arose in Denmark after a report revealed the government had given tacit permission for nuclear weapons to be located in Greenland, in contravention of the Denmark 1957 nuclear-free policy.
You know what you never want to hear in the same sentence is tacit approval and nuclear weapons.
Yes.
Those two things should never go together.
I don't want anything. Nothing should be tacit when we're dealing with nukes. Nothing.
It should be so specific and adamant.
Adamant. Everything should be adamant. Like
no
haircuts.
We had implied consent of nuclear weapon placement.
It's just like we cannot confirm or deny whether nukes are dangerous, and we just tacitly want to test them out. So what came out in 1955 was all of the stuff we had lied about. So the 68 B-52 crash was again another violation of Denmark's anti-nuke policy that was struck in 1957. So we had this dumb idea that we were doing illegally. And then 2 years after the dumb idea was scrapped, we then still broke their laws by crashing a nuke into Greenland, into the Denmark region of Greenland, and then kept it all covered up until 1995.
It's almost like we don't really respect the sovereignty of other nations.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't
We
know.
we have a tacit disrespect of the sovereignty of other nations.
oh God. It's just like have we ever covered this before? Has America ever done this bad? Have we ever done stuff like this in the past?
No. Have we ever shit the bed when it came to nuclear weapons? Not that I can recall.
I can't think of one.
No.
So, which is why I'm so happy to hear, back to the Will Smith stuff, a bunch of neoliberal Hollywood people who really want a no-fly zone in Ukraine to force a World War III with the country that has a tacit ability to keep us safe.
And well, a neoliberal superhero, Sean Penn, said he'd melt his Oscar if they didn't give Zelensky the chance to speak at the Oscars.
Oh,
so I heard I didn't watch the thing. I mean, I saw the slap, of course, but I didn't watch the thing. But I heard they had like a 30 seconds of silence for the Ukrainian civilians, just like the year before they had 30 seconds of silence for Yemeni civilians, and the year before that, the 30 seconds for Afghanistan civilians, and the year before that, the 30. Oh no, that's right. They didn't do any of those.
But Sean Penn has melted his Oscar for the people that have been completely abandoned in Afghanistan, a war that we just mishandled for 20 years and spent $3.5 trillion on, right? I mean,
yeah. He just keeps remelting the same Oscar over and over.
Yeah, to watch that, it was just like, I guess backstage, they only had Ukrainian pins. Like they couldn't get pins for all the Yemen and Syria and Iraq and Afghanistan and Palestine. I guess they just couldn't get all of those, but they would probably
what if someone came out just covered in flags if every country the US had ever bombed or invaded?
That's what I would have done if I was at the Oscars. But in lead camp, that's why you and I are never going to be invited to the Oscars. That's why, because
we can't win a Grammy because we're not a sexual predator. That's why.
Oh, so that's Operation Iceworm, buddy.
Well done. And now,
segment number 2, Lee Camp's part 3 of World War I, a war that's a war to end all wars, but kind of didn't.
A war to end all wars, but
I think
not
it's just
segment to end all segments.
I think World War I has tacitly ended the war. It was the war to end all wars, right?
Yeah. I mean, they shouldn't have, honestly, if they thought it was going to be the war to end all wars, they shouldn't have put the one there, because that kind of creates expectations for the next one.
It does let everybody think there's going to be a trilogy.
No, I'm some nerd out there right now is going, actually, back then they called it the Great War. I'm aware.
I know. Yeah,
All
they
right.
called it the war. The Great War.
All right. So in 1970, the Bolsheviks, led by a young whippersnapper named Vladimir Lenin and
1917,
Leon,
right?
What?
I thought you said 1970. It's 1917.
17,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, 1917. No, 70, he did not look as good.
His reunion tour was okay in 1970, but
17
was when his first album was the shit.
And Leon Trotsky seized power, changing the course of history. They were inspired by Karl Marx about class struggle, a struggle that would eventually result in egalitarian socialist society. Bolsheviks set out to reorganize Russian society at its roots, nationalizing banks, distributing land estates to the peasants, putting workers in control of factories, and confiscating church property. Lenin's Red Guard ransacked the old Foreign Office and brazenly published what it found: a web of secret agreements between the Allies from 1915 and 1916 that divided the post-war map into exclusive zones of influence. Much as the U.S. would react to the WikiLeaks publications of its diplomatic cables in 2010, the Allies were outraged at this brazen violation of the old diplomatic protocol. Don't you love that? Fucking imperialists have their secret documents showing they were going to divvy up the world after the war revealed, and they go, this is against protocol.
The outrage. I don't even know, like, and they're straight faced when they do it. Like I think they believe their words, or I don't know. It's literally like, It's like, you know, you stole better than I did, or so. I don't know what how they justify it.
They were like, listen, Lenin, I know you're new on the scene, but we have an agreement amongst us that we don't reveal our crimes to the world. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you show how evil we are?
But those documents expose the hollowness of Wilson's call for self-determination after the war. So one thing that seems to be a theme as we keep going is the hollowness of Wilson's words. Because, you know, Wilson, as we mentioned in the last episode, he was opposed to getting in the war. He got reelected on the slogan, "He kept us out of war." He kept saying countries should have self-determination and, you know, there shouldn't be this. So it was anti-imperialist rhetoric, but we keep seeing that when push comes to shove, he never actually stands for these things. Among the treaties was the Sykes-Picot Agreement, which divided up the Ottoman Empire among Great Britain, France, and Russia, carving out new nations with little regard for historical and cultural affinities. It planted the seeds of future conflict in the oil-rich Middle East. Lenin's vision of worldwide communist revolution captured the imagination of workers and peasants around the globe, posing a direct challenge to Wilson's vision of liberal capitalist democracy. Wilson's Anglophile Secretary of State, Robert Lansing, reported disappointedly that Lenin's communist message was resonating with workers. God damn it.
No.
It's resonating with workers. Apparently, they don't like being exploited when someone points that out to them.
Oh, and then when they see a better alternative where they're actually treated with dignity and get a fair share, boy, that's bad news. That's bad news.
And, you know, we don't need to spend any time on this, but for those who think you can't support some of the tenets of that Marx pointed out or that Lenin pointed out and not be, you know, Stalinist or something, like communism is not socialism and state communism is not, you know, the initial idea of communism. So when you say like, hey, the workers should, you know, be able to make their own decisions, like there should be democracy in the workplace and the workers should do that, you go through that kind of stuff and people go, that's communist. It's like, no, it's not.
No.
Anyway, Lenin's appeal was directed to the proletariat of all countries, to the ignorant and mentally deficient. Oh, sorry. I skipped to who's saying this. This is Wilson's Anglophile Secretary of State, Robert Lansing, reported disappointingly that Lenin's communist message was resonating with workers. He warned that Lenin's appeal was directed to the proletariat of all countries, to the ignorant and mentally deficient, who by their numbers are urged to become masters. He's basically calling all workers mentally deficient.
I mean, you got to love the ruling elites, boy. They just love when they speak honestly about the workers. They're just a bunch of dumb mutants, and we'll just tell them what they need to hear and give them bread and circuses and shut them up.
And what you don't want is those mentally deficient getting ideas in their heads.
Can't let that soft brain start thinking.
Wilson announced his 14 points on January 8, 1918. This liberal, open, anti-imperialist peace plan endorsed self-determination, disarmament, freedom of the seas, free trade, and a League of Nations. All sounds pretty good, right? He said the day of conquest and aggrandizement is gone by. So is also the day of secret covenants. He declared in what later would turn out to be a bold-faced lie. Lenin signed a peace treaty with Germany, pulling Russian troops from the war. Lenin was so desirous of peace that he acceded to the harsh terms of the treaty, even though it meant relinquishing Russian control over Poland, Finland, the Baltic states, Ukraine, Georgia, and more. Over 300,000 square miles of territory and 50 million people. Wilson and the Allies were furious. The outspoken ex-lord of the Admiralty, Winston Churchill, spoke for capitalists everywhere when he said that Bolshevism should be strangled in the cradle. An estimated 40,000 British troops arrived in Russia. So in the midst of like World War I, imperialist countries like Britain and the U.S. are still finding time to go and fight, at least to a small degree, the revolution happening in Russia.
Oh.
Because they're that worried that it might rub off on the capitalist states.
Oh yeah, and Churchill said he wants to like murder a baby in its crib. In essence, is what he just said. So this is Winston Churchill did some nice stuff, and also had that, and thought that Gandhi was less than him. So when he had his bright spots and his down spots, like everybody.
Yeah, a lot of down spots for Churchill. Japan, France, Great Britain, and several other nations sent tens of thousands of troops to Russia, in part to assist conservative white Russians attempting to overthrow the fledgling Bolshevik regime. The U.S. initially hesitated to join them, but finally sent over 15,000 troops to eastern and northern Russia with the hope of maintaining a limited eastern front against Germany and limiting Japanese gains. Wilson rejected proposals by British cabinet officer Winston Churchill and other allied leaders for a direct military intervention to overthrow Bolsheviks.
Wait a minute. So we wanted to get involved. Wilson and Churchill mainly wanted everybody to get in the West to get involved in ending the Russian Revolution.
Ending the Russian Revolution. Winston Churchill initially fought against sending U.S. troops, but then he basically gives in. They were worried, quote, that there are, Wilson was worried that armies may become impregnated with the very Bolshevism they are there to combat. The problem is, if you touch a Bolshevik, you can catch it. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like literally, it's a virus. I mean, you can catch it, and the next thing you know, you're going to be a Bolshevik. So. Bolsheviks, they're on. You can catch Bolshevism on a toilet seat, Lee. You can catch it by by touching a doorknob and then scratching your face. Like Bolshevism is really, it's everywhere.
Yep, it's really easy to catch. California Republican Senator Hiram Johnson argued that the U.S., and I know this is going to sound crazy, that the U.S. should instead deal with the issues that had given rise to Bolshevism: oppression, poverty, hunger, rather than intervening militarily to overthrow the new government.
Shut up.
Fucking communist, commie.
Shut up, you fucking, shut up with all that logic.
He said that we should do that rather than have a war against revolution in all countries. Mississippi Senator James Vardaman charged that intervention had been conducted on behalf of international corporations that wanted to collect the $10 billion that the Imperial Russian government had owed them. Oh, you think that the imperialists had a financial incentive to make sure Bolshevism didn't take over?
So weird that when you follow the money and connect the dots, there it is. Oh, there was and this is $10 billion in 1917. Like, this is probably around $1 trillion or so in today's money, right? If you were to put that in perspective.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, a lot of fucking money.
So that's what it was all. Of course, these banker assholes. How many working class kids have to die?
And the amount of money they knew they'd lose from nationalizing everything in Russia. Right. I mean, corporations might not have been as established as they are now, but they knew that, like, if the workers take over Russia and then all of that oil and everything goes to the people, that's pretty bad for corporations.
Right. It's just like, this is such a great, I'm glad we're doing this 3-parter and breaking it down, because this is just such a, it goes even deeper. Like, no, World War I was really stupid, like really awful, like on a lot, way worse than you thought. Like
a lot of levels.
It is literally like the Operation Iceworm of geopolitical nonsense.
Operation Iceworm.
Oh,
Oh
so
man.
stupid.
So they go so again, for those who missed the first two segments on World War I, although you absolutely should go back and catch them. I'm getting this from Oliver Stone and Peter Kuznick's The Untold History of the United States, and they go back into how Wilson was kind of viewed as a peace president for a while. Like he really stood out in a new way, and yes, phenomenally racist man. We went into that earlier too, but he really did seem to stand for peace for a while. And H.G. Wells recalled, for a brief interval, Wilson stood alone for mankind, or at least he seemed to stand for mankind. And in that brief interval, there was a very extraordinary and significant wave of response for him throughout the earth. He ceased to be a common statesman. He became a messiah. The Germans had surrendered, at least partially, on the basis of Wilson's 14 points, believing they would be treated fairly. But the ill-defined 14 points proved a weak foundation on which to base negotiations, and Wilson mistakenly failed to get his allies to concur during the war when he had more leverage. The allies balked at Wilson's terms. Having paid such a high price for victory, they had little interest in Wilson's lofty rhetoric about making the world safe for democracy, freedom of the seas, peace without victory. They wanted revenge, new colonies, and naval dominance. So he failed it, and he also seemed to not have a lot of spine when it came to this stuff. But 27 nations met in Paris in 1919. The task ahead of them was enormous. To varying degrees, the Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, German, and Russian empires were collapsing. New countries were emerging. Revolutionary change was encroaching. Starvation was rampant. Disease was spreading. Displaced populations were seeking refuge. Visionary leadership was desperately needed. But Lloyd George, Clemenceau, and Italian Prime Minister Vittorio Orlando found Wilson, who considered himself the personal instrument of God, to be absolutely insufferable.
Of course, this pompous Klan member.
I know. He shows up in the hood and he's like, I want peace on earth.
I want peace on earth, but I'm not willing to listen to anybody. And ultimately, I really just want to expand America from being a second-rate country. I want to turn it into a global power.
Yeah. Few of Wilson's 14 points remained in the final treaty. The victors, particularly Great Britain, France, and Japan, divided the former German colonies and holdings in Asia and Africa along the lines established by the secret 1915 Treaty of London. They also carved up the Ottoman Empire. They sanitized their actions by calling the colonies mandates. That sounds so much better than colonies, doesn't it?
Oh, it's so great. I mean, the World War I was so horrific on so many levels. We've talked about how awful trench warfare was. I mean, we haven't even gone into what the Ottoman Empire did to the Armenian genocide, which Turkey still denies to this day. And America finally admitted, it acknowledged a year ago. And like we've talked, this is a recurring thing on this show of the awful shit America has done way in the past. Like we're still paying for it today. Like if they would have just done the right thing at all these different turns, this planet would be in a much better position. Like if there is a parallel universe, we're the shitty version. Like if there's a parallel universe where there's another Earth, where there's a Lee and a Graham there, we're fun. We're the funniest comedians in this socialist utopia where there's just green energy everywhere and there's no war. And, we travel to Yemen as tourists because that war never happened. And, Will Smith, but
we did. And Will Smith went up and gave Chris Rock a hug, and we wouldn't have many fans because we'd be like, there should be peace on earth. And they're like, yeah, there is. Shut up.
Yeah.
Why are you yelling? Just relax.
Well, you guys, what's the big deal? We have peace on earth. There's no war here. Like,
we're going to worry about a sustainable environment. And they're like, yeah, it is. It already is.
We've been doing that for 40 years.
Out.
What are you talking about? We got rid of fossil fuels in the 90s. What do you mean? Like that never... Oh God!
It's just a much better world, and Instead of electrical outlets in every apartment, there's green juice outlets, and you just turn it on, green juice comes out.
It's just a green juice tap in every. They're like, what's organic food? What do you mean? Like everything. We don't use pesticides. What's a pesticide? Like they wouldn't even know any of the thing. They would just like everything would be done naturally, and they're just like, we just everything we do. We work in concert with the land and nature and what that's best. Why would we destroy the land for profit? Because if we would destroy the land, then we can't eat and survive. We're all going to die. Like they would just look at us like,
they're just looking at like, what the fuck?
What do you guys?
Yeah.
You know,
so
what's health insurance? Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So the Allied leaders did little to hide the racism that underlay their continued subjugation of dark-skinned peoples. This was most apparent when Japan's representatives proposed that a clause on racial equality be included in the covenant of the League of Nations. The Japanese proposal was rejected outright. Racial equality? Are you kidding?
No.
You mean the people we lord over? No. Wilson attempted to secure a kind of non-punitive treaty, but he failed miserably. And the treaty dealt very harshly with Germany. Lenin had dismissed Wilson's 14 points as empty rhetoric and said that the capitalist powers would never abandon their colonies or accept the Wilsonian vision of peacefully adjudicating conflicts. His call for worldwide revolution to overthrow the entire imperialist system was finding receptive audience. Colonel House wrote, Bolshevism is gaining ground everywhere. Hungary has just succumbed. The Allies were so worried about communist revolutions in Eastern Europe that they inserted a clause in the armistice agreement forbidding the German army to evacuate the countries on its eastern front until the Allies think the moment suitable. I mean, they basically were trying to keep a war against the Bolsheviks going even after World War I ended.
Okay, so we were fighting the Germans. They've surrendered. They've lost. But we want you to keep your armies near Russia just in case so we can try to squash Bolshevism. Like, this is just...
Yep.
This almost feels like what we currently do with, like, we need to fight fires. Let's use prison labor. And then...
Right.
Then when they get out of prison, they can't get a job, and we're low on firefighters, so California goes up in smoke.
American workers also participated in the radical upsurge. 365,000 striking steel workers led the way, followed by 450,000 miners, 120,000 textile workers. In Boston, police voted 1,134 to 2 to go on strike, leading the Wall Street Journal to warn Lenin and Trotsky are on their way. Wilson called the strike a crime against civilization.
What?
The Seattle mayor charged that the strikers want to take possession of our American government and try to duplicate the anarchy of Russia. Boy, this doesn't sound familiar, does it?
God, I don't think these words have ever been spoken since. I don't think they were just spoken. And while Amazon just lost, and the Amazon Staten Island facility became union, which is so awesome, by the way.
Right.
Oh my God, they say it's the same shit. Like the show.
I know. We just keep doing. It's amazing to me as I'm going through this, like how much of it we're just doing over again right now.
We're doing it all over again. And like, how many government secrets have we went, oh, we're still doing this?
Yeah.
50, 80, 100 years later, 150 years later, we're still doing the same thing. It's unreal.
Yeah, it just keeps happening. And then they brought out the guns to stop the strikers. State militias and even federal troops were called in to finish the job against the strikes, sending the labor movement into a tailspin from which it would not recover for well over a decade. Though the use of federal troops on behalf of powerful capitalists had been highly controversial in 1877, workers had increasingly learned that police, courts, troops, and the entire apparatus of the state would be arrayed against them when they struggled for higher wages, better working conditions, and the right to join unions. Basically, the U.S., and it's funny because it's like on top of World War I, right after World War I, the U.S. basically goes to war against our own people, against our own workers, if they dare stand up and demand, better wages or health care or some say in how their life is run. Yeah.
Yeah, because we covered, I think might have been last week, that this week in the Twigs was that fire in New York where a bunch of people died, like people that's part of what they were protesting back then too, was like, hey, we don't want to be burned to death in our factories, or what, like a lot of the protests were like, we don't want to be treated like cattle, and in addition to like better wages, and just the capitalists are always the same. They say the same crap. They're the worst.
Yeah, I mean, another theme in the government secrets here has been the times when the U.S. government, usually via police, but occasionally even via bombings or American troops or whatever, goes to war against our own people.
Yeah. We just finished fighting a war in Europe that was called Wall Street's War, and now we're sending troops with guns against American workers that are just striking for better wages and conditions.
So having badly weakened the left during the war, government officials now tried to finish it off. In November 1919 and January 1920, Attorney General Mitchell Palmer used a spat of largely ineffectual anarchist bombing. So just replace that part of the sentence with January 6th right-wingers attacking the Capitol, or whatever, breaking windows at the Capitol. They used that as an excuse to unleash federal agents to raid radical groups and labor organizations across the country. Though called the Palmer Raids, the operation was actually run by a 24-year-old director of the Justice Department's Radical Division, J. Edgar Hoover.
What? How did I see that coming?
But yeah, they take something, in this case, like they said, largely ineffectual anarchist bombings, or the largely impotent January 6th, break the windows and stand up at the podium attack on the Capitol. And then they use it to obliterate rights in one form or another. They use it to censor us on large platform, on social media platforms. They use it to freeze bank accounts of protesters. They use it in all these ways. So.
Yeah, literally 3 weeks. I mean, I remember we all were talking about it. January 6th, I was like, oh, they're going after the right now, but they're going to use this to come after the left. And 3 weeks later, I was demonetized. Yeah. And I just love how we can freeze bank accounts of even just the truckers recently, whether you agree with them or not. We freeze the bank accounts of the truckers, but we still can't find all of the people that were making money from Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We still can't. I know. Can't quite.
Exactly. So I think that's a good place to stop. We will complete World War I in the next episode, if that sounds good.
That's it. One more segment remaining on World War I, a 4-parter.
This is our first ever 4-parter.
It's very exciting. I mean, it was a big war.
It was. Again, the only thing we've talked about longer is Leafgate.
Exactly. Hey man, I got to run, but have a great week, and I will see you same bad time, same bad place.
All right, Lee Camp. See you later, buddy. So folks, like, share, subscribe, support us at liberapay.com, Government Secrets. I've got tour dates. April 6th, I'm in Waikiki. April 14th through the 16th at the Zanies in Rosemont, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. April 28th, I'm headlining Flappers in Burbank. April 29th and 30th, I am at the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club in Ventura, California. All my tour dates are at grahamelwood.com.
That is Government Secrets. Thank you for listening.
Well, we did it, everybody. We did it. Let me go. Boom. All right. Thanks everybody for supporting the show. I'll go over to, God, that was fun. It's like, I learned so much. It's crazy. Go over to rockfin.com. Comrade Christian, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/GrahamElwood. Have you read John Potash's Drugs as Weapons Against Us? Highly recommend. Lots of GovSeeks in there. Crazy stuff. Ooh, that's great. I will go into that for sure. Will Smith's slap was staged and Big Pharma was behind it promoting their new RX for hair loss. I doubt that, but that's funny. Melissa H. Boom. New segment for you, Graham. Hot take +8. Thank you, Melissa, for supporting us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Got to go eat dinner with the fam. Watch later. Right on. Boom. We got, what do we got? 180 likes. All right. Good to see everybody watching over on Twitch. All right, folks, that is our show. I will be going live tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific time for the late night crypto lounge. That is at Rockfin, rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. It's for Rockfin premium members. It's only $10 a month. And the thing about Rockfin premium, for $10 a month, you get everybody's premium content. Mine, Lee Camps, he's going to have a lot more there now that Redacted's been taken out. Abby Martin, Rachel Blevins is over there now. We're working on getting Christy I on there. Everybody else that's over there, Jimmy, Ron, Whitney Webb, there's a long list of people. So go check that out. Thank you for watching. And again, we'll see you tonight, 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern, late night crypto lounge. It's an exclusive Rockfin premium live stream. We talk crypto, what's going on in crypto, and then I'll do some regular segments as well. So Graham, are you still going to do a not so late night crypto night at some point? Yes, I will. Maybe we'll make that next week. Let me look at the schedule. Look at it right now. The 11th. Tuesday the 12th. Yeah, let me think about that. Either next. You know what? Let me think here. Let me think. If tonight is the regular time, 8 o'clock. Next Monday, I have a show Monday night. That's like a sort of what they call a private gig, like some areas. So I can't put it on the website, but it's in. Yeah, I got to figure that out. But I will do that. And thank you guys for reminding me. I know Truth to Tweet and Melissa, you guys have reminded me of that. So I will do that. I will do an older one. Older. I will do an earlier one. Thank you. Because I know you East Coast folks are. I know you East Coast folks. I know that gets late for you, and I understand that. So, how about first Mondays of every month? Okay, I like that plan. First Mondays. Let me look at the calendar. So the next one. So we'll do it May 2nd. So today would have been first Monday. May 2nd. Yeah. Let's do that. We'll start May 2nd, Rockfin Live. And we'll do it 2 hours earlier. We'll do it at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. Does that work for everybody? 6 and 9. Boom, boom. And Kate is busy with like some work and school stuff. So Holly, I forgot to mention, Holly, I made you administrator today. I don't know if you realize that. So yeah, first Mondays of every month. We'll do it. I don't want to do it tonight because I don't want regulars who come every Monday. I want to give a month of letting people know we're going to start doing that. So we'll start doing that Monday, May 2nd. First Mondays, we'll do a 6 o'clock. So great. Cool. So tonight will still be regular 8 o'clock Pacific time. Starting May 2nd, we will start doing 6 o'clock first Mondays. And we'll test it out. And if people just prefer that time in general, maybe we'll just always do Mondays at 6 if everybody likes that. And that might be easier for everybody. If it gets more viewers, I'm all for it. So we'll test that out. Thank you, everybody. Tony DeMeo, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for following us or supporting us and following us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. You can also support us at patreon.com/Graham Elwood. You get all the archives of the live streams. I do exclusive Patreon polls, and I'm going to start doing, an exclusive Patreon video and audio every week. In addition to the fact that you get all the audio and video of all the archive live streams, because as soon as I stop going, except for government secrets, we keep that open to everybody. But anyway, Tony DeMeo, Chris Rock is one of the best comedians of all time because he has talked about racism, unlike Will Smith. I look forward to seeing you do stand-up on the 15th of April. Right on, Tony. We will see you in Chicago. Yeah, Chris Rock's great. He's a great comic, and he didn't deserve that. And if Will Smith wanted to be super critical of Rock's joke and it was insensitive about her alopecia, that's fair. But you don't get to go hit the guy. If Chris Rock was my friend or I was one of the writers at the Oscars, I would have said, don't make that joke. Make fun of her dress or something, but don't make fun of her bald. I would say make fun of her dress, looking like a Hunger Games or something like that. I wouldn't make fun of the G.I. Jane. I wouldn't do that just because of the alopecia thing. But again, didn't deserve to be smacked. But all right, everybody. All right, let's yes, Thursday nights, anything can happen. Ricky Gervais said he wouldn't have made fun of her baldness. He would have made fun of her boyfriend. I know. That's what Will Smith was really mad. His wife is having sex with a 20-year-old, and it's all out in the open, and he's like feels completely emasculated by her, so he needed to take it out on someone. That's what happened. All right. So yes, late night crypto lounge tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Eastern. I will sing some karaoke on that, and all the karaoke is archived on all the karaoke videos. Granny Petrol, Darien, Shatner, Eddie Vedder, Bane. They're all at Rockfin Premium. So you get all the karaoke. It's the only place you can watch all the karaoke videos. Yeah, Chris Rock might have not even known about her hair loss, which, he should just say, I'm sorry, I didn't know, but whatever. Didn't deserve to get slapped. Will Smith was nuts and out of line. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And 193 likes on. Let's get that up to 200 before I go real quick. 200 likes on Facebook or not Facebook. God, my brain is mush. 200 on YouTube. Let's get 200. Come on now. 194. Let's get it up there. Stroke it up there. Jerk it up there. Come on. Don't make everything sexual. 196. Come on. 197. Let's do it. 198. Come on. 2 more likes. 199. Let's get to 200. Let's get to 200. Come on. Ooh. Whoa. Come on, hit the like button. Let's get to 200. There it is. We did it. All right. Thanks, everybody. This was super fun. We did it. See you at the Late Night Crypto Lounge exclusively at rockfin.com/Graham. Thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you for supporting Government Secrets. We'll see you later tonight on Rockfin, and I'll be live again tomorrow at let's see. I'll be tomorrow at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Pacific live tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific on Rockfin, and tomorrow being live on all the platforms at 3 o'clock Pacific time, Tuesday. Thank you for watching. Shave your knuckles for justice. Wait, that's what I wanted. I wanted to press